Oilersnation every day with your hosts, Tyler and Liam.
All right, guys, this Beltman shit's over. Oilers get their shit ran by Adam Klapka. Let's get into it with the lead. You know what? If we're going to cut the Oilers a little bit of slack, I also don't enjoy my first day back at work after the Christmas break. Welcome in to Oilers Nation every day. We are live from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out online, sportscloset.ca. Do they have some Boxing Week sales? Maybe a chance for you to get yourself that gift you didn't get. Yes, up to 50% off on select items. We are also a presentation of Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. As I welcome in my co-host, Liam Horrobin. I'm out of breath. While the countdown was playing, I punched my water bottle over. Oh my God. I punched my water bottle over and spilled water everywhere. By the way, we no time for jokes. Carolina Hurricanes have claimed Noah Philp, Liam.
I was just looking to see if that came through before you brought me on. Interesting. I think one layer of this, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. Could they have not sent him down for a conditioning stint first before just full on sending him down?
I mean, maybe, but maybe the thinking was that they just, again, wanted to try sneak him through waivers. Like this might not have been like oh yeah, we want you on the NHL roster, just go down and get in shape. This might have been like, hey, we're putting you down in Bakersfield.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a good thing to get a bit of a change of scenery for him as well. It's unfortunate because there was obviously high expectations for him coming into the season, but from on-ice play, I think Curtis Lazar's outplayed him to an extent, but we also haven't seen Noah Philp play for, has it been 6 weeks, maybe even longer? Like I feel like I don't remember the last time he played a game.
Yeah, it's been a very long time. Where I kind of come out on this, and listen, you guys know that I love Noah Philp, the player. They clearly, there was a lack of trust there at some point. And this is, again, we'll keep going back, and I really don't want to make this too big of a deal. I don't want to sit here and be like, their roster's not a Stanley Cup caliber because they don't have Noah Philp as their 4C. But I think this once again speaks to like an organizational philosophy problem where you have a guy, right shot center, 26, 27 years old, has shown a little bit of offense, a good amount of offense down in Bakersfield. But when he's come up in short stints, like he's shown some offense, like there are some bugs, some warts in his game. Like absolutely there are. I'm not sitting here saying he's a perfect player and it's some travesty that the Oilers don't have him in their top 12 anymore. But I'm just more annoyed at the fact that time and time again, you have these young players who you just don't want to give proper runway to. And we'll sit here and we'll trot out the Mangiapanis and the Henriques and the Fredericks ad nauseum and just have to watch these guys continue to be mediocre over and over and over again. And you don't give looks to guys like Noah Philp at $750,000. And like what we're going to end up doing here, Liam, is chasing our tail as a fan base, as an organization. Organizationally, they're going to keep chasing their tail. And all right, at the deadline, we got to trade Michael Kesselring and a pick for Nick Bukestad because we don't have a good young bottom six centerman, right? Going to get to this summer. Adam Henrique's out the door. What do you think they're going to do? Do you think they're going to try give some of this action to the kids? No, they're going to go spend $3 million on the next fucking Adam Henrique because that's how they continually operate. So, like, again, Noah Philp wears part of the blame for this. He didn't show enough intensity at the NHL level. But at the same time, like, at what point as an organization do you sit there and go, you know what? Adam Henrique has warts. Noah Philp has warts. Let's play the 26, 27-year-old who actually has some upside here. And I guess that's not really the comparison because you could have had both those guys on your roster. But you get the point I'm trying to make here, right? Where it's like at some point you have to let these young guys learn from their mistakes and get acclimated at the NHL level.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I think one thing I would say is, and Tyler Mulick lists a bunch of players in the chat of like who he's better than, and I agree, he probably is better than them, but like, you look at Max Jones, for example, and I don't think Saturday was a good example of what he has been, but like, he came up and he tried to make a bit of an impact in the short stint they had, and they, some reason, turned to him instead of for Noah Philp. But the injury obviously really set him back. You would have liked to have seen him get some runway here. I didn't like the way Knobloch played him early in the season, especially that Vancouver game. Like, he gets the goal, he stands up for, I think it was Regula, yeah, it was, who got nailed by, came behind the net, and then all of a sudden, he's out of the lineup for however many games that ended up being. So
Yeah.
the other side of it too is I think if he had gone down to Bakersfield, whilst maybe it would have been beneficial, I think it's kind of ironic in a way because he was being blocked by certain players in Edmonton who weren't good enough. He would go down to Bakersfield. He would block guys like Szymanski and Marshall, like guys who have done really well down there, who are younger than him, 3 or 4 years younger. Like Noah Philp is no spring chicken. So it's too bad it didn't work out in Edmonton. We all had expectations of U of A Golden Bear. Ironically, Derek Ryan, didn't he play for the Carolina Hurricanes too? We're really mapping out the same path here for Noah Philp, just slightly different order.
Yeah, he'll end up in Calgary at some point here over the next 2 years. He'll do his homecoming because he's a Canmore boy. Sucks for Philp, but he's no better than Lavoie, diamond dozen player. This is where I'll disagree with you. Like Raph Lavoie, yes, diamond dozen player. And the other side of this is sometimes you need good diamond dozen players, right? Like I'm not sitting here saying, oh, Noah Philp's a 20 goal guy and the organization just didn't see that. Like, no, I am not stupid. I am well aware of what he is as a hockey player. I just think he should be given more runway and like D White with this. My issue is we replaced Kulak with a 3rd round pick and we kept Kulak over Broberg, who was a 1st round pick and is now a legit top pairing D man. Like ding, ding, ding. That right there, that's the whole point, right? Like if they would have given Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway the proper amount of time to learn from their mistakes and get acclimated at the NHL and get comfortable with a D partner, build chemistry with someone, like get the experience necessary to establish yourself in the NHL. If the Oilers would have done that with Broberg, if they would have done that with Holloway instead of Liam, I don't even have like the Broberg Kulak thing. Sure, I get where you're coming from. It's a Vinny Desharnais problem here with Philip Broberg, right? Like they weren't playing Dylan Holloway in the top 6. Like if they would have done that, those 2 guys are still here and they're big pieces of your team going forward. And you can sit there and say, oh, whatever the offer sheets, this, that. It adds up is kind of my point, right? You made this mistake with Holloway. He's gone. You would have loved to have him in the lineup. You made this mistake with Broberg. He's gone. You would have loved to have him in the lineup. And I don't think Noah Philp is Dylan Holloway or Philip Broberg, but I think he's an actual good NHL 4th line center who shoots right, has size, moves pretty well. There's a player there and you let him walk out the door because you wanted to keep playing Curtis Lazar because you were scared to healthy scratch Adam Henrique. Like they didn't give him the proper opportunity early, and that's where my frustration comes in.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I do think they have done a better job of asset management this season in a vacuum. Like they're playing Regula and a lot better or worse. He's a younger player too. Savoy's in the lineup every single night. We haven't seen him healthy scratched at all, if I'm not mistaken. So I like what they've done there. They've given other guys a chance, and like Ike Howard just wasn't ready for the NHL when he was here. They sent him down to Bakersfield. He's clearly tearing up that league right now. So I think Noah Philp is maybe the one this season alone. I completely agree about the Broberg and Holloway and everything else before this move, but I think he's the one this season where it's like, okay, it just wasn't working out. He just couldn't get back in the lineup, and I think he was outplayed by a few guys in his position too, not Adam Henrique.
Yeah, and I guess that's fair. I don't know. I get some frustration out of, people in the YouTube chat. Like, why are we talking about Broberg and Holloway still? LOL, we're still discussing this. Come on, we need to get over it. Like, as much as I'm someone who, yes, like it was a long time ago, I think Bowman's done a good job to go get pieces like Emberson and Podkolzin who kind of bridged that gap a little bit here. I still think we're kind of sitting here going, it ties into the conversation, I guess, is my point of like, again, Noah Philp could have been a good young roster piece for you for the next number of years. He's not here. You have to go out because you lost a Holloway and a Broberg. Like you don't sign Mangiapane if Dylan Holloway's doing what Dylan Holloway's doing in orange and blue instead of blue and yellow is just kind of my point. Like, I don't know. You guys literally told us not to bring them up again. Yeah, when people randomly pop in the chat for no reason and bring them up, makes no sense. Right now, it applies to the conversation of the Oilers organization lost who I would call a quality young player on waivers in Noah Philp. So anyways, again, does it matter? Is it going to be the reason? Is Noah Philp alone the reason they are or aren't going to win a Stanley Cup this year? No, it's small potatoes kind of stuff. But when you add up all of these things, I think it highlights a problem with their organizational philosophy.
Yeah, there was another player, obviously, that departed the team as well. David Tomasek is just gone. He left the Oilers, and this is something we'd kind of speculated a little bit, just reading what was happening. Like he wasn't getting in the lineup. They were literally calling players up from Bakersfield to play ahead of him. But 5 points in 22 games. I think 2 of them came in one game, right? Funnily enough, he was the guy who scored his first NHL goal on whatever it was, Draisaitl's 700th NHL point. Oh, no, it could have been that. Whatever it ended up being for Draisaitl. It was a monumental moment for him. But yeah, David Tomasek now no longer an Edmonton Oiler. I will miss Noah Philp more than I will miss David Tomasek. I'll tell you that much.
Oh my God, it's not even close. I mean, David Tomasek, I like the shot, right? Like, again, 1.2 million, even if you had to bury him, I know obviously it's mutually terminated, so the cap space is gone, but it would have been like $50,000 to bury him. Like, it was a great shot to take. You need to take risks like that, especially when you're an organization who lets young talent walk out the door and continually whiffs hard in free agency. If you're going to do both of those, you need to grab a whole bunch of lottery tickets. And Tomasek was exactly that. So I don't think this Tomasek experiment should deter them from taking these kind of risks in the future, because, and you and I talked about this at the time of the signing too, like, if you can hit on 1 out of every 6 to 8 of these guys, and they become legit NHLers, you are doing very, very well. But the only way to hit on 1 out of 8 is to sign 8 of them and wait till you find the one, right? So you got to keep taking these risks.
Yeah, and the other guys that they have in Bakersfield seem to be perfectly fine players. We'll see what happens with them. Of course, they haven't touched the NHL yet, but Tomasek, I struggle to see where he fit in the lineup. I tweeted out, I had his moments, but was just a fourth line guy at the end of the day, and people took great offense to it. And it's like, okay, well, sure, he was a fringe third liner. Either way, like, he just never was going to get going. I don't think his boots were good enough. He didn't have that physical side of him. I really do think they thought he was going to be a middle six guy who could score on the regular. And he just, outside of the power play, he had a couple of moments, but like, he just didn't really create many chances at 5-on-5. And to be honest, the Oilers probably have 6 guys in the bottom 6 already that do that. And they can have a 7th guy in him on the outside locking in. It's just like, okay, at the end of the day, people have mentioned it a couple of times. He's a guy that wants to play at the Olympics. And Czechia might take him. But he needs to play some hockey games to be involved in the conversation there. So I believe Gregor tweeted about it. He's like, a couple of weeks ago, I spoke to him and he said there's always Sweden to fall back, and I know I'll have a home there. And you've mentioned it too. There's probably a handshake agreement that was like, you're not ever going to go to Bakersfield. We'll allow you just to go. I'll find you a new home. And they didn't find him a new home, and now he's just gone back to Sweden.
Yeah, and I think there was probably a little bit of like, hey, we're going to give you a run of time to try, like, they're going to try trade him, I think, for a run of time. And that's probably why he wasn't taking warm-ups. Like, he was not involved the last 3 weeks, because I think it was very clear the Oilers said, hey, this isn't working. You're not a fit here. We're going to try find you a trade partner. They didn't find him a trade partner. They put him on waivers. Like, again, for the people being like, oh, why didn't you just bury him down in Bakersfield? You're right, handshake agreement. And they probably called every team around the NHL and said, do you want this guy for free? And every team probably said no. So the writing was on the wall. He had to go home. Mulick says Tomasek wasn't given a proper chance either. I disagree with that a little bit. He got the first 2 weeks of the season as the net front guy on the power play and was like nothing more than fine. Like, I remember back some of those early shows we do the day after games being like, oh man, Hyman might have scored on a couple of those Tomasek chances in front. Like, I think it just became very clear to them that he didn't have the boots to play with Connor and Leon. His finishing, you hoped it would translate. Like, sometimes guys who score at one level just kind of have a knack for it and score at the next level too. He just wasn't that guy. He couldn't really create offense on his own. He's just a fringe complementary player. And again, I don't think this is the same conversation as Noah Philp, because I don't think David Tomasek was ever really brought here to like be a 4th line gritty player or whatever. Like, he was brought here to produce offense in we'll call it top 9 role to some extent. I think there was a part of the organization that was like, you know what, maybe this guy finds a way to click with a McDavid, click with a Draisaitl, but in all likelihood, I think they were kind of hoping he would click with a Henrique and give you scoring and production on your third line. That wasn't happening, so there's no fit for him. It's different than the Philp conversation, because you could have let Noah Philp develop into a good 4th line center for you. That's my whole point there.
Yeah, I completely agree. I just rather they call it Quinn Hudson when it's all said and done. If you want some scoring, like, give that kid a chance. I actually don't think that's too far away if the depth keeps playing the way it does, to be honest. He came up, made an impact, and there was a bit of rumors today, which I'm sure we'll get to later, which could bring in a Quinn Hudson for a more regular role in the NHL.
Yeah, and hey, I mean, that's even another part of this conversation, right? Is Quinn Hudson comes up and like shows some flashes, and then they just don't really play him all that much. I got one more beef, and I mean, Mulek's fine if we go back and forth with him. He's not someone who's going to get offended, but he says his 10 minutes time on ice, top 9. Let me read you his first. This is 1, 2, 3. These are his first 8 games with the Oilers this year, basically the whole month of October. 13-20, 15-28, 10-42. 12:57, 12:56, 12:01, 14:54, 12:37. Like he got north of 13 minutes 3-4 times in his first 8 games. Like I don't know. I think they gave him enough of a look, and there just very clearly wasn't something there. Like again, not quite tied into Philp, who I actually think Noah Philp did play well in the games where they gave him north of 10 minutes.
Yeah, I thought he had an impact. His skating was just noticeable. He's always going to be a good skater. And I think the Oilers are a good organization. I think the Carolina Hurricanes are a good organization. They clearly saw something in Noah Philp too.
Yeah, and sorry, just to round out my point there, Noah Philp played north of 13 minutes twice in his 15 games this season. So like I don't think there really is a Tomasek, sure, maybe you could sit there and say they could have given him another week or whatever in the top 6. You also have to remember shit was going bad. They weren't exactly in the mood to try a bunch of flyers next to Connor and Leon. Philp, I don't think it's the same argument. I think you could have given him a good, proper fourth line role, played him 12 minutes a night, saw what happened, whatever. John says Philp will be this year's Ralph Lavoie. Guy will be on and off waivers. Yeah, maybe. That's just whatever. Philp is sadly a casualty of the salary cap from Lance. No, it's the opposite. They should have looked at Noah Philp making $750,000 and been like, oh, that can be a huge plus for us on the salary cap. I don't think it's a cap casualty at all. He literally makes the minimum amount of money that you can make in the NHL.
Yeah, totally. Again, you look at the Florida way last season, their entire fourth line made less than $3 million. The Oilers fourth line, when it's just Frederick, makes more than $3 million. So they got to find ways to bring in these cheaper contracts. And hey, maybe Philp needed make more of an impact when he had the time. He wasn't given any time recently because he's been injured, and maybe that's a sign of things too. They were worried about the injury, for example. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with him. I wish him the best of luck. His story is obviously a pretty wild one, not your common NHL story, to say the least. So hopefully he can establish himself with Carolina and make a career out of the NHL.
All right, there's a lot for us to get to on the roster side of things here, but we should probably talk a little bit about the loss on Saturday. Again, holiday brain. This game feels like it was 5 days ago. It was only on Saturday. But our game recap, Liam, is brought to you by Greta, our go-to party spot in downtown Edmonton. Arcade, bar, street food. Perfect if you're watching the game. Perfect if you're looking for a post-game pop or a pre-game beer to get you fired up. Greta, heart of downtown Edmonton, walking distance from the rink as well. The Oilers lose to the Calgary Flames 3-2. They were sluggish. They were kind of back doing their thing in the offensive zone where it was a lot of no-look backhands, cutesy shit on the outside, just kind of seemed to want to – they were slowly going into this hockey game. There just wasn't a lot of like good shit going on.
No, there wasn't. And you can usually tell when the Oilers aren't dialed in from the get-go, especially someone like Leon Draisaitl. Like, and this isn't me calling him out. It is what it is. He's been unbelievable recently, but like, he's just so noticeable when he's playing poorly from time to time. It just doesn't have it in his legs. So he just knew it. And Calgary, we should have probably predicted they were going to come out a little bit more hot and heavy. And to be fair to them, they set a tone right from the start, and it came from Adam Klapka, and a lot of guys followed him into the battle, and a lot of respect to him, because I was reading some stuff online from Flames fans, and they were saying that might be his best game he's ever played. And the one game you want to get up to is the game after your team gets absolutely annihilated before the Christmas break, and you have against your biggest rival, you have so much time to sit on it, and he set a tone right from the warm-ups and just carried it going. I thought he was honestly the best player in the game and easily the most effective.
Yeah, I mean, he was good. Ryan Lomberg, as much as I fucking hate that guy, he was good. And like the Flames, coming off a game where they got their ass kicked both hockey-wise and physicality-wise, had a couple of guys in their bottom 6 who said, you know what? We're going to be the identity for this hockey team tonight. And they were exactly that. They set the tone. Rest of the team kind of followed suit. The goals in that game, Sharon Govich from Klapka, Lomberg unassisted, and then Coleman from Backlund and Ball was the one that put the Flames up 3-1 and ended up being the difference maker and the game winner. But like, to tie this back to the Oilers, how come the guys at Edmonton are paying 3 million, 3.4, 3.7 million? Why can't they have the same fight as Adam Klapka and Ryan Lomberg? And listen, Lomberg obviously doesn't like Edmonton yet, his time in Florida, but like, Lomberg makes, I guess, $2 million. Klapka's 1.25. And those guys, like, even Lomberg almost is a great example to compare to like a Frederick or whoever, where like career league minimum guy in Lomberg who gets his $2 million deal from the Flames and doesn't lose his hunger at all and still goes out there and does all those gritty, difficult things that you want a guy in the bottom six to do. Like, if Trent Frederick, I know they're not the same player, but if Trent Frederick could give you 80% of what Ryan Lomberg gave the Calgary Flames, nobody would be bitching about an 8-year deal for Trent Frederick.
100%. Like, if we saw any kind of game like that from him this season, people would be, I think, satisfied and knowing there's a bit of hope around him. But we've tried to like pull the positives from him many times, and it's hard to do because he's rather invisible, and people will complain about his time on ice. It's like, well, you also have to earn that. It's not Chris Knobloch's job to get you out there as often as he can to let you get your feet going when it's pretty clear your feet never get going. So I just don't think that they can. I don't think there's an argument for that when the Flames guys average, like their fourth line average, like I think it was a minute 10 longer than them combined or whatever it ended up being than the Oilers fourth line. It's just like these guys are invisible, and I just think it showed the lack of anything the Oilers have in that bottom six. Because let's be real, the Flames' entire lineup is bottom six forwards. They beat you on work ethic and not much more. And the Oilers have the most skilled, one of the most skilled top sixes in the league, and arguably the worst bottom six in the NHL.
Yeah, they're not good on paper, but you're right. They will outwork you. And again, that is something the Oilers need to do if they want to find a way to, I don't know, win 3 consecutive hockey games, which they haven't done all year. Like, the skill comes for a couple of games and you start to really buy into this team. You're like, all right, they're looking like the Oilers of old. But in today's NHL, like what I agree with what you said, like the Flames on paper are dog shit. They are. I know you didn't quite say that. I'm paraphrasing a little bit here. But like, the Flames on paper are dog shit. The Edmonton Oilers on paper are a much better hockey team. But that gap still isn't all that big in today's NHL. If you don't have the effort to go along with your skill, you just aren't going to string together these long winning streaks. Like, look at the Buffalo Sabres. They've gone and rattled off 8 straight wins. Do you think they're just skilling it up every night over this 8-game winning streak and popping home 6 goals, winning 6-2? Like, no, they have 1-goal games where they grind, play physically, do all the right things, and get a couple of bounces. And like, listen, maybe we view this game differently. Edmonton hit however many goalposts in this hockey game, Liam. Maybe we view this game differently if a couple of those goalposts end up going in and they win in overtime and we laugh and say, haha, even though the Flames gave us their best, it's the Oilers and they're always going to find a way. Like, sure, but the bottom line is you have to make your own luck. They didn't have the effort necessary to compete in this hockey game.
I also think the problem's still there if those posts go in, because or even just one of them, right? So you get to overtime, you lose in overtime. Didn't McDavid hit 2 of them, Bouchard 1 and Nuge the other? Like, your bottom 6 is still completely irrelevant. And it's the same thing that happened in the game when they beat them 6-1, 5-1, whatever it was, where it's like your bottom 6 did not register a point. I wrote an article on Oilersnation. It's just like, I think the combination of Klapka, Kirkland, and Lomberg had 6 shots between the 3 of them. And like, I think they had 12 hits or something silly like that. The Oilers' fourth line didn't even come close to touching that. And I just wonder when enough is enough. And they're obviously trying something a little bit different tonight with Jack Roslovic going in at center. But I just think you've got to sit it down with these guys and be like, how are you not playing well at this point in the season? Like, what can we do to help you? But also, what are you going to give us if we do that? Because I don't think it's much more.
Yeah, Rusty, we'll talk more about the bottom 6. He goes, are we sure Regula didn't get an assist on the Lomberg goal? Boom, roasted. Lomberg after the game on what he saw after picking off a pass and turning into his 3rd goal. Quote, lot of net. I got a little Pizza 73 deal here. So I think that Regula, whatever his name was, he might be helping out with some of that. I told him I handed some pizzas out over the break and I didn't mean to me. So anyways, Lomberg was doing his rat shit. whatever. He's allowed to run his mouth because they won the hockey game. But Aaron, can we play that goal from Lomberg, the one that Regula set him up for? Because there's kind of two ways I want to go with this conversation, Liam. One, you can sit here and be like, yeah, Regula just totally gave it away. But watch the, 2 seconds before this goal. Ryan Lomberg taking hard strides to a meaningful area of the ice, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 hard strides to the middle of the ice, recognizing a defenseman who is maybe in a little bit of a poor spot here, reaching out on his back end, and he takes advantage of a mistake. When was the last time someone in the Oilers bottom six skated that hard, created or took advantage of a turnover and scored, right? Like, we can sit here and laugh at Regula and Lomberg can laugh at Regula all he wants, but it's like, man, I would love to see someone in the Oilers bottom six work that hard and put themselves in a position to one day get a breakaway. So that's part number one. We'll talk about that later. You have the floor, Alec Regula.
Yeah, so Alec Regula obviously not playing tonight against the Winnipeg Jets, and rightfully so. Obviously, a mistake like this is just something. It sunk the team. They sunk the team. They lost them the game because this ended up being the game-winning goal. And the Oilers have tried to push him a lot, especially with Jake Wallman out, mostly because they only have 6 defensemen. But it's very interesting when you look through it. So when Jake Wallman was in the lineup, Alec Regula was averaging, his 1306 was the lowest he has played since Jake Wallman was in the lineup for the Edmonton Oilers. So the first half of the season, when Wallman was in, Alec Regula was averaging 12 minutes and 31 seconds of time on ice, which is from October 7th to November 24th. So that's clearly a guy they see as a third-pairing defenseman playing some penalty-killing roles. That was over 10 games. Since then, which is basically just the Florida game onwards, he has played 17 minutes and 23 seconds of time on ice. 13 games. That is a huge step up, and it just opens up the door to a lot of mistakes that are happening, and that's just what's happening with him. He struggles under pressure with the puck. He loses so many board battles. He's always second to the boards. He loves to do this play, and maybe the other players do it too. I was really just focusing on him, where he doesn't even control the puck when it comes around the board. He just basically swings his stick at it. In the offensive zone, he really just sticks on the blue line. He fires pucks to the net that typically don't get through the net. So it's just really frustrating to see where this guy has come from at the start of the season. It's like he's going to be a bottom 6 guy, to them just like almost demoting an Emberson and Stasney's elevating now. But I just think when you look through, and I have an article coming out tomorrow of like a shift by shift breakdown of his games, he needs to get his feet moving in all areas of the ice. It's not just a defensive zone thing, but you see it on that one. He just gets very clumsy in his footwork, and his stick just flails everywhere. And in the offensive zone, we saw it against Toronto, and I thought it was a really good play as well against Calgary in the offensive zone, where he can skate into the space and he knows what to do. He's got offensive instincts. He just doesn't use them often enough. And if I was the Oilers, I'd be encouraging him to play that more and play almost like a riskier brand of hockey in the offensive zone, because I think that's when he's most confident. He's big on the puck. He's 6'4". He's 25 years old. He's barely played, and they need to give him a lot of runway. I'm not saying give it up to him by any means, because I think he will be a good player, but you got to reduce those minutes. This guy cannot be playing close to 18 minutes when he's played barely 50 games in a league. I just want to see that brought down. I think it says a lot that he won again. His time on ice was the lowest in over a month, and now he's been taken out of the lineup for Riley Stillman, which I do think is the right decision. But with him, I just want him to bring him down a little bit, because you're just allowing these mistakes to happen because you're playing him too much. He's just not that good yet.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like someone said, relax on Regula. He only has 45 games, and like exactly
That's not the point.
But like, and this is where also like you need to view defensemen a little bit differently than forwards, in the sense of like, sometimes with forwards, yeah, you want to get them a lot of minutes. You want to play them with skilled guys, all that stuff. With Regula on the blue line, you put him up there with Darnell Nurse, and it's like, man, you are getting tough matchups. You're playing a ton, D-zone starts, all this stuff. You put him on the third pair where you can just kind of ease him into things a little bit, cherry pick his spots, get him reps, get him, just used to the pace and the speed of NHL hockey. Like everything you just listed, Liam, like that's what he's struggling with right now. It's not like he's a totally incompetent hockey player by any stretch, but he's just in way over his head. Whereas if he could go out there, and I know, listen, this is going to sound funny because of the turnover he made to Ryan Lomberg, but like if he could go out there and just play against some third and fourth lines, get his 13 minutes a game, like eventually you can build on stuff like that. You can come to the bench, feel confident, you walk out of the game, whether the team won or lost, you can be like, all right, like I think I felt good and comfortable in that hockey game, versus sitting here the way he is, where you're playing 18 minutes, you're out there every, second or third shift or whatever, you're gassed, you're spiraling, everything happens so fast, like you have no time to kind of build on anything. So I agree with you. He's a third pairing defenseman right now. When Wallman's back, he is very clearly their number 7. And where I'll turn this into a positive conversation, he's very clearly their number 7 because the Oilers might have found something here in Spencer Stasney. I know the expected numbers and some of the underlying shit maybe isn't quite all that good, isn't quite up to where you want it to be, but the eye test with this guy is legit. He skates well. I think he's strong positionally. He makes smart plays with the puck, not afraid to jump up into the rush. And I don't think this is just me going shiny new toy syndrome, being like, oh my God, he's someone different that we haven't seen in a while. Like, I legitimately think there's a player here.
I completely agree. I think he's probably the most mobile defenseman the Oilers have had in a long time, which we've discussed, of course, before. But I think that's where I'm at with him. He just moves really well. I want to see a bit more offense out of him, like production, that is. Like, sure, the underlying numbers might be good, and someone just put that in the chat about Nurse and Regula as well. But it's just like, show me the real numbers. Show me the numbers that actually happened on the ice. And that's what I want to see from Stasney. He is getting elevated tonight, so I don't think it's just you that's seeing this out of him. I think the coaching staff has clearly shown a lot of trust, and heck, he's an upgrade over what Brett Kulak was giving you at the end of the day. He just plays the game at a quicker pace, and I think the Oilers need that a little bit more out of some of their defensemen from time to time.
Yeah, and again, like this deal and everything that happened with the Jari deal and then the Nashville deal with Stasney, Kulak out, like that will all get judged in its totality when this season is said and done, and what Spencer Stasney can do in the playoffs. How much will you miss Brett Kulak in the playoffs? But like right now, the first few weeks of Spencer Stasney as an Oiler is way better than the October and November that Brett Kulak gave you. And I think that's a really good point. Like people miss Brett Kulak because of what Brett Kulak was in years past. What Brett Kulak was giving you this year is nowhere close to as good as the level of hockey that Spencer Stasney is giving you right now. And he is $2 million cheaper, and he's 6-7 years younger, and he's an RFA this year that you can hopefully get, signed to a really good quality deal. People keep saying in the chat, they miss Wallman. Like, yes, they absolutely miss their second best defenseman. Like the pecking order, and Ekholm, to his credit, has had a much better year than I thought he would coming off the injury and with his age and all of that. He sputtered a little bit early on, but I think Ekholm's found his groove. But the ranking of the Oilers' best defensemen, it is very clearly Bush, Wallman, and that gap, when you consider 5-on-5 play and all that, is actually kind of somewhat close in my eyes. But like Wallman and Bouchard are their number 1 and 2 defensemen. They play on different pairings, but those are their top dogs. They miss having Jake Wallman. Like when he's back, I'm very excited for what a D-core that is Ekholm, Bouchard, Wallman, Nurse, and then again, Stasney, Emberson. Like that sounds really good to me on a third pair. I'm excited for this blue line. God damn it, they just have to get healthy.
Yeah, we've barely seen Wallman this season too. And I think the other side of it is Ekholm's been playing really well recently. He seems to have just got better as the season's gone on. So that's been quite good because the start of the season was a struggle. And someone put in the chat, went by saying Nurse has been playing so well with Regula. I don't think so at all. Like, I think they're really struggling, to be honest. And I think it shows in the last game, they played those two so much in the offensive zone and barely in the defensive zone, only in the third period, kind of on the fly changes, because I just don't think they trust him right now. And I just want to see more from them. Having Wallman back, honestly, I think he'll just elevate this team to another level. And with that said, like when Wallman comes back, like don't expect him to be anything special for like 5 or 6 games. You gotta let this guy get his feet underneath him. He's been gone for a while.
Okay, so I know people keep going to the expected goal numbers with Wallman, or sorry, with Regula and Nurse as a way to defend them. man,
It's not like that.
We can't keep doing that. Like, again, I think part of it is shots from the perimeter sometimes fray these numbers a little bit. Also, there are times, and like, again, we bring up the analytics and all that a lot of the times as well, but we always say you need to have the proper context to it. Liam, when Regula and Nurse run around their zone for a minute and a half because they're hemmed in and they couldn't get the puck out, and then, maybe they block a shot or a forward makes a good play and chips it out, that doesn't end up hurting their fancy numbers at all, right? Because it's just a team cycling it around while they're lost in the D zone. If Nurse makes a pass to McDavid, he goes in for a grade A look. Like, yeah, sure, that helps Regula's expected goals for, but he didn't do anything to actually help create it. And here are the hard numbers with those two this year at 5-on-5. With Darnell Nurse and Alec Regula on the ice at 5-on-5, it's been 243 minutes. That's a big sample size. They are getting outscored 12-6. They're getting doubled up with those two on the ice. When Nurse has been on the ice this year at 5-on-5 with anybody but Alec Regula, he is +2. That's insane.
Yeah, and someone said sorry, he's like, Nurse needs to be covered by his partner a lot. And again, this is just going back to the Calgary game. It wasn't like that. If Regula was making the errors and Nurse was just kind of stuck in situations, of course, like, Nurse makes mistakes. I don't think Nurse is that good in the offensive zone. He needs to improve his game there too. But like, it was a lot of shots from the point, just like the corner at the top of the blue line by Regula, just get blocked and they're down as like scoring chances. Like, no, it's not. It wasn't like that at all. And I just think, again, like, and this isn't me like picking on Regula. I know it seems that way, but like, this is just how it is. He got scratched today because he played poorly against Calgary, and the others need to bring down his minutes because he's good. He can be a good defenseman. I think there's a lot there to work with, but they need Jake Wallman back, honestly, probably more than ever right now.
And I mean, this is just another classic Oilers injury thing where, like, we don't even know when this guy's going to be back because I don't know. We're hoping early January, but at this point, I don't even know if you can hold your breath on that. Last thing that I know you've done some research on, you have an article up at Oilersnation.com along with the Monday mailbag and all of our great offerings to begin your week. But your piece, Liam, is specifically about the Edmonton Oilers, their bottom six production, and just how bad it is when you compare it around the league.
Yeah, it's ass, to put it politely. Aaron, if you want to throw out the graphic, I just did it between, this is just the Pacific Division, and all these numbers are even all strengths. I didn't want to just nitpick at all this other stuff because I think it's, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I wanted to ask just like a couple of questions about that of like, what am I looking at here? What is the games played column? What's the time on ice column? Just explain how you threw this all together.
Yeah, so basically it is what would typically be a bottom six lineup for each of these teams. Obviously, it kind of sways here and there, but I looked from the start of the season to today based off minutes played. There's a couple of things, like, for example, the Seattle Kraken. Like, Jared McCann is just coming back from injury. His minutes are a little bit lower than what they would be. I obviously didn't include him in the bottom six, but this does include guys who have come on the power play. Like, you were kind of looking at LA, guys like Corey Perry and Kuzmenko. Their minutes are added in this, including power plays, for example. So that's all put into context. I just wanted to put it into context of these are the numbers and this is what we're looking at. Because to me, this is just crazy, to be honest. Like, the Oilers are dead last in bottom six production in their division. They are third in the league in scoring, and they are dead last. The Seattle Kraken, who are dead last in the league in scoring, have more bottom six production than the Edmonton Oilers, and that combined has played almost 30, just over 30 games less than them. And they're only averaging 30 seconds more time on ice. And I just think these numbers, cannot go on like this at all. Like, it's ridiculous that all these other teams are just having so much more success when the Oilers have legit guys who have played well in the NHL over the years. Like, Mangiapane isn't a bad hockey player. He's just not scoring. I think he's on pace for like 11, 12 goals, what it is, which at the end of the day is a decent production, I suppose, but it's not good enough when you're the best one in the bottom six of it. Adam Henrique, I don't know what happened to this guy, but he has no offense in his game. Savoy's hit and miss. I think he's just struggling with the players that he's playing with. Obviously, he's had some top 6 minutes this season, and Frederick, we all know the case there, but they need to find some scoring. And someone put in the chat, keep Hudson in Bakersfield, like 6 to 10 minutes isn't enough. I think the one side of it too for Chris Knobloch, which I was slightly defending away, is just like, I don't think these guys earn any more minutes on a night-to-night basis. And when you go out there and you're playing like you did against Calgary, I think the third line was boosted a little bit more in the third period, but like you just know you're not getting a goal from them and you cannot trust them in certain moments.
So I think there's a little bit of like a chicken and egg debate going on here because like Honto Mo said, why don't the Oilers build a bruising bottom six instead of trying to build scoring lines? Bottom six on the Oilers don't get enough puck touches to get on goal scoring runs. And like I get where you're coming from, Liam, and like I think this is totally different. And I am someone who criticizes the lack of opportunity that these lines get at times. But when you're the coach and it's your ass on the line and you're standing behind the bench watching in the first period, we'll call it 3 just painfully mediocre shifts where your bottom six doesn't look engaged and all of a sudden you're down by a goal and you're like, shit, we need to try win this hockey game tonight. Yeah, I wouldn't be super inclined to go into the second and third period and be like, you know what? Trent Frederick, we're going to double shift you, see if we get you going a little bit. Like, no, you're coaching to win every single hockey game. This is the National Hockey League, not the National Try Your Hardest League. Like, you need to sit here and value results over giving everybody ice time, giving everybody pats on the back and saying, oh, I think you're doing your best. Just keep trying hard. Like, no, at some point, results matter. So I get where you're coming from in that. But this, to an extent, Liam, goes back to the rant I had that went super viral a couple of weeks ago or a month ago, where I was like, how come every single player that comes to Edmonton is painfully worse than when they got here, right? Like, how come, like, what is the reason? And the one thing you can point to is like, they come to Edmonton and they get less meaningful opportunity than they did everywhere else.
Yeah, it definitely happens. And it'll be an interesting study to go back and look at how maybe minutes were reduced, for example, from Jeff's going to go from Buffalo to Edmonton. That's maybe a bad example, but you know what I'm saying? Like maybe that is the case, but I just think you look at that Calgary game in a vacuum. So the bottom 6 forwards, and we'll say the bottom 6 time on ice, Savoy played 10 seconds more than Roslovic, but honestly, it actually just helps this experiment. The bottom 6 on Saturday, how many shots on goal do you think they had? The bottom 6.
I'll say 5, under 1 per player.
1.
Okay.
Sorry, that is with Savoy. The bottom 6 on Calgary. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players. How many shots on goal do you think they had?
Well, Lomberg scored and Klapka had damn near scored a couple. So I'm going to say they had 5.
They had 7.
All right.
So you want to talk about like, and this isn't you, I'm just saying like in general, like you want to talk about giving guys opportunities. How about you do literally anything when you're on the ice? Maybe that'll give your coach an opportunity to be like, you know what? Trent Frederick's going hard tonight. I'll play him an extra shift. He's going to get a shift with Draisaitl today because he's playing so well. Like guys got demoted in that game because they were all playing so poorly. And I just think you're in this game. You're in the Battle of Alberta. Ryan Lomberg and Adam Klapka are absolutely running your shit. And you could not get up for that game and even throw a hit. Like, that's crazy, too. Let's see this. They had 1, 3, 4 hits. 5. Well, you know what? We'll count Roslovic in this. They had 6 hits between the bottom 6 last game.
Mm-hmm.
That's unbelievable.
But
and Lomberg had 6 alone.
And that goes like, Hontomo, why don't we just build a bruising bottom 6? Like, Trent Frederick should be hitting more than he is. Andrew Mangiapane, I looked, his hits per 60, lowest it's been in any point over the last 4 years. And like, granted, it's a small number, but you'd think a guy like that struggling to produce offensively would be like, you know what? I need to do something to show this team. And again, like Clattenburg, there's a reason why he comes up and everyone falls in love with him because he does the effort things well. So I do think the chicken and egg sort of thing here, it goes a layer deeper than this because like, again, Hontomo has had some good comments today. This is a roster construction issue, he says. They need more guys whose roles were bottom 6 roles, and they don't care about getting a bunch of points. Roslovic will be a big fail at 3C in the playoffs. Like, yeah, I don't know if Jack Roslovic's a guy who's going to be a quality third-line center for you in the Stanley Cup playoffs, but I also don't blame Chris Knoblauch right now for looking at what he has on paper and being like, well, Jack Roslovic's the only chance I have of some line outside of Connor and Leon giving us just the slightest bit of a positive impact here. Gorgeous George, isn't the whole job of the coach, Tyler, to get production out of everyone? Well, again, like you can go 2 ways with that, George. You can sit there and say, is it the coach's job to get more production out of everybody? Or does the coach, is he playing with garbage here? Like, can you even blame Chris Knoblauch? Is it Chris Knoblauch's fault that 35-year-old Adam Henrique has seen his production fall off a cliff? Like, I don't think it is.
No, I don't think it is either. That's a bad contract. And people keep saying it's like you can't just expect your bottom six to score. Guys are dead last. They're dead last in the division. All the other bottom sixes are like this. We just talked about joked how Calgary's entire roster is bottom six and they're finding ways to score and be productive. It's just having an impact on the game. It's not necessarily just scoring. Like these guys, you may as well not dress them. You may as well just dress six forwards and go with your top six because that's the only guys that are showing up.
The Edmonton Oilers got $1.2 million in salary off the books, and today Pierre LeBrun is reporting that the Columbus Blue Jackets are finalizing a trade involving Yegor Chinnikov. We do not know where he's going, but we know the deal is for draft picks, Liam. Chinnikov is a 24-year-old Russian with just 3 goals in 29 games. He has had about a year and a half of playing pretty poor hockey, but you can go back 2 years ago, he had 16 goals in 53 games. He is a guy, doesn't give you a ton of size. He's only 6'1", but is a bit of a change of scenery type piece here. Chinnikov makes, what's his money? $2.1 million. Then he is an RFA. We're going to do this on the fly before it's announced. Would you like it to be the Oilers?
I don't know. Because it kind of just goes into the mix of like, well, your bottom six is doing nothing anyway. So maybe he's just a guy that can come in and be a bit of a different project in the sense of like you tried it with Tomasek, it didn't work. How much money did you say makes 2.2?
2.1. So 2.1. So if Columbus is willing to keep 50% of it.
Yeah, if they can reduce it down, I think I would be inclined. I'm trying to think like he'd be a more skilled player in your bottom six than probably what you have right now. I really think Mangiapane is going to be gone here before the deadline still. So does that help that side of things? Sure. I mean, I think it's worth the shot if there's some retention on the contract. Ironically, wouldn't he have only Mangiapane, who is like consistent bottom six play? He would be the only one who has more goals in him this season.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not? May as well.
If Columbus is like willing to keep 50% of that thing, like sure, like it's a free shot on a guy. Like you can bury the rest of it if it doesn't work out. Put him on waivers in a month. I don't know what the Pierre says getting draft picks back plural. So maybe it is like a fourth for the player and a sixth to keep the money or whatever the hell you'd say. But we don't know who the team is. We just know Yegor Chinnikov's getting traded out of Columbus. So we will keep our eyes on that one, I suppose. And we'll see where Chinnikov ends up going, but it does kind of line up with, not directly, but I think the Oilers are starting to make some calls because Elliot Friedman today on 32 Thoughts said that Andrew Mangiapane would be willing to trade it or open to waiving his no trade clause, Liam, if there was a spot where he felt like he could get some more opportunities. So this is maybe going the way of the Victor Arvidsson situation where the player and team both just recognize, hey, it ain't working out. This isn't the fit we thought it'd be. Let's move on now before this gets even worse. And we've both totally tanked our value in terms of Mangiapane's career value and the Oilers' value of what they could get for him in a trade. I know everyone speculates about the Toronto Maple Leafs, his former GM Brad Tree living obviously in charge there, and the Leafs have a little bit of cap space. They need to get a little bit of a boost here. I think that would make sense, although I'd question whether or not the Leafs would take on the full cap hit there. But again, if the Oilers are recognizing that they need to shuffle up the chairs a little bit here on this thing, maybe they would look at a guy like Chinnikov, and maybe they're sitting there, and you know what? Maybe they think they have a deal for Mangiapane that they can just pull the trigger on at some point in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, that would be nice one day. I think at this point, it doesn't even matter what the return is. If you can get a 4th round pick, for example, then you're good to go, I would say. So that would be good. I wouldn't want a player back in return for him. I'd rather just have the cap space and move forward and see what you can get at the trade deadline. But if you're subbing out Chinnikov and Mangiapane, I don't know, like maybe it's just a sideways move. But at the end of the day, one of them isn't working here in Mangiapane. So I think it's just time to go. I said this the other day of like, go full Colorado. Let's not rip it down to the studs, say, because obviously that would be extreme, but like enough of this crap of like these average players. Like, let's go and get some real NHL players who are going to show up and actually play a bit of a style that the Oilers want to play on a night-to-night basis. Like, Adam Henrique would be another guy I would hope would want to go find somewhere else he can play a bigger role too.
So this is what David Pagnotta just posted this, our insider, on the 4th period. He just said the Edmonton Oilers are actively shopping winger Andrew Mangiapane and have made it known that he's available. He has a full no trade clause and is willing to waive it for another contender I'm told he comes with a $3.6 million cap hit, has another year. And we had epiphany. Believe it or not, I'd rather move Freddie than Mangiapane. At least with Mangiapane, the term is short, but that's exactly why you can't move Freddie, but you can move Mangiapane, right? You can move him because there's a year left and teams can look at, last year before and go, hey, there's still a player here. We want to take a shot on him. You're stuck with Trent Frederick for better or for worse, man. You are married to that guy. You need him to find his game. You have no choice but to ride this thing out. With Mangiapane, like, if you want your bottom six to have a different look, and like, I get what you're saying, where like, is, Yegor Chinnikov better than Andrew Mangiapane? I don't know. I don't think so. But, Mulick said he gives me Podkolzin vibes. And like, sure, I mean, it worked with one Russian who needed a change of scenery. Why can't it work with another? But like, the point is, if you could go from Mangiapane to Chinnikov and you've saved yourself 1.5 million, maybe more if Columbus retains, well, come deadline time, now maybe you got a bit more flexibility, right?
Yeah. And I think that's just what they're going to go for. They want as much flexibility so then they can get to the deadline and think, okay, we're actually capable of bringing in Alex Tuck, Jared McCann, player C, D, E, whoever it may be, and not having to move out an essential piece to make that happen. I think that's where they're looking at things here. It's not necessarily the player involved in Chinnikov, if that's who it ends up being. It's the $1 million extra you would save from Andrew Mangiapane.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll park kind of the trade talk a little bit here for a second, just because, I mean, listen, I have no inclination that this is a Edmonton deal, but it's open, it's vague, and we know the Oilers are in the market for some bottom six help, and they're willing to move some pieces around. So we're probably going to stay live until we find out what the Chinnikov deal is. But there's a couple of other things I want to talk about. We hit on Tomasek, we hit on Philp, we hit on Friedman. What did you make of the fact that coming out of the break, Edmonton went right back to Connor Ingram again?
Earned, not given. I think it's fair to say. I wonder too if they wanted to give Calvin Pickard this game tonight in Winnipeg, and this was kind of a bit of the plan in a way that he was always going to start this game. So okay, we'll give Ingram Calgary. I mean, he also has played really well the past two games. He played really well in that game against the Calgary Flames too. That save at the end where, like, what was it, Klapka, where everyone celebrated. The commentator said it was a goal, and he saved it. And Kelly Rudy, I should say this, really discredited the work Connor Ingram did on that. Said it hit the post. Like, no, he didn't. He put it right in his glove, and he stopped it from going in. Where's the goalie union on that one, Kelly Rudy? So I think Connor Ingram has been a bright spot, to be honest. And like, the team's been playing really well too, but I did not know what to expect from him. And the fact that he has a 9-15 in 3 games and made some good saves in those 3 games too, it's remarkable. And unfortunately for Calvin Pickard, I think his time is up unless he somehow strings together like 3 amazing games in a row, which I do not see happening.
They are giving Calvin Pickard the start tonight in Winnipeg. He has family in Winnipeg. I saw there was a bunch of little Pickard jerseys there. So, like, again, I think the Edmonton Oilers are doing everything they can to do right by Calvin Pickard. They let him stick around until Christmas, so he didn't have to go down to Bakersfield and leave his family during the holidays. They're giving him a start tonight in Winnipeg, which, again, I think there probably would have been a case for it to be an Ingram game again, considering he played really, really well against Calgary. I just think they're giving Pickard, again, a lot of feel-good opportunities here. It is very, very, very clearly going to be an Ingram-Jari duo or Jari-Ingram duo when Jari is healthy. Like, giving Ingram 3 straight starts is the clearest cut sign that you want this guy to win the job.
Yeah, I think so too. And someone put in there, he's like, Pickard might get claimed on waivers. I actually think that would probably be a good thing for all parties because the Oilers have such a logjam goalie, especially in the American League right now. Like, Sammy Johansson needs to play. Nathaniel Day needs to play in the East Coast League as well, or the ECHL, sorry. And you already have Tompkins down there. I think if Pickard was to go, it'd just be best for everyone. Maybe he can keep his NHL career alive and well as well. But it's just too bad. But Connor Ingram, just the reality of it. And I think this is the way the organization is wanting to see things. They want to see nice results now. I think they're getting tired of like, oh, what if this guy could be good for us? And what have you done for us in the past? Like, what have you done for me lately? And Connor Ingram, you could honestly make a funny argument that he has been the best goalie the Oilers have had in net this season.
Yeah, well, dude, I don't think that is a stretch at all. I mean, like Jari, I know small sample size, but like,
Yeah.
yes, Connor Ingram has given them a couple of great games, and I like that you brought up the point on the save too. Kelly Rudy, oh my god, I'm stunned. He's trying to discredit something the Oilers have done. No,
Who would have
Kelly
thought?
Rudy, the former
Yeah,
Flame.
the
No.
Edmonton boy.
Something that might complicate this Chinnikov thing today. Again, we still haven't seen anything about like what the deal could be, but Columbus has had some really bad plane issues today. Like they play tonight in Columbus and their plane was only able to take off like 20 minutes ago. So they've had to push back the start time for tonight's game in Ottawa because they couldn't get their plane out of Columbus. So anyways, I saw the guy from Boston is reporting that it's the Penguins that are getting him, but again, no big name insiders had it yet, so I'd be very cautious believing anything else I'd see. Yeah, Jimmy Murphy. Like again, no disrespect to Jimmy Murphy, but I do know that he's kind of one of those guys who just throws a lot of stuff out there. If you kind of know what I'm saying. So again, I don't know if he's ever really gotten stuff right. I don't really follow him all that much, but yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and take his word for it necessarily. Could be Pittsburgh. It makes sense if it was Pittsburgh. I think they probably are in one of those teams that should be in the market to go out there and take a lot of flyers on guys like that. So, anything else we missed since our last show? I think that's. Oh, do we want to do the McDavid ketchup clip?
Yeah, he actually had a really good after hours. Sorry.
Yeah, he had a really, really good after hours, and one of the things they asked him about was his phobia of ketchup. Here's what 97 had to say.
What is the story of the ketchup?
Honestly, it stems from childhood. My brother's the same way. Not sure where it came from. I'm going to blame it on him. He's worse than I am.
That's what older brothers are for, right?
Yeah. I learned off him, so take it up with him.
What? No ketchup on your fries?
Nothing.
Is it the smell or something? Like
I don't know what it is. It's the texture. It's the look of it. It's everything.
Okay.
It's
well, texture's important, right?
Yeah. I don't know what it is.
So I think you said it's a ketchup phobia, right?
Yeah, I think it's a phobia. Yeah.
He was very, very funny. Ketchup, it's a weird thing because like that's something that like almost every little kid loves. Like little kids almost love it too much. My nephew Cal, you put ketchup in front of him and whatever else is on the plate is just a vessel to put ketchup into his mouth. Like whatever you have, he's just cleaning the ketchup off and going for more. So it's very weird that of all things, like McDavid really dislikes ketchup.
Yeah, it's almost like a treat, ketchup, when you're a little bit younger. Like, oh, I got some ketchup on my plate today. If I had to pick one, it would be Jell-O. That shit is disgusting. So
really,
the worst thing ever. Like the fact you put food in your mouth and it just can like basically wobble inside of you. That's kind of fucked. Like it's not really something I'm going out there seeking. So yeah, I agree with him. Food can be weird. I don't know if I would have picked ketchup.
Chinnikov is going to Columbus, so we did all of that talk for nothing. Or sorry, he's going to Pittsburgh, so we did all that talk for nothing.
Oh yeah,
that for Elliot Friedman, who has it. It's draft pick going back the other way. So there you go. Chinnikov not coming to Edmonton.
Oh well, what an error! What an error of Chinnikov.
Yeah, I can't believe you don't like Jell-O. It's just sugar water, dude.
Yeah, it's just the weirdest feeling. I don't really like it. It really weirds me out. Also, too, the other day on O&O, when you're trying to think of like what Christmas is I don't like, trifle was what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah, a weird one.
My thing, I hate pickles. I hate anything that's like vinegary, like the smell of it. Oh, so like I don't mind dill. Like my mom will make some things like putashka and things like Ukrainian dish, and there'll be a dill sauce on them. I'm totally fine with that. Mushrooms are another one. Like I love mushroom soup. I like the taste of mushrooms, but it's like the texture I can't get over. Pickles, I can't do pickles just because of the vinegar. Like the smell of it, all of that just drives me absolutely bananas. I hate pickles. I wish I loved them. I think I should like them, but I just can't get myself to do it.
I'm also out on pickles. Yesterday, I went to the movie theater, watched a new Avatar movie, which is a 3.5 hour long movie. So I got a quick chicken burger before I went in. And the guy said to me, he's like, sorry, like I started making this and then I realized I didn't have any pickles. So no pickles. So I was like, all good, man. I hate pickles. So bullet dodged. Also, too, I had some naleshniki over the break, and that has dill in it, and that was quite delightful.
Yeah, naleshniki, always good. Any other good Ukrainian dishes? Did you have the full spread?
The full spread, Podaher, Holopshy, Naleshniki. We started the meal with a bowl of wheat. I don't know if that's necessarily Ukrainian. Is it Ukrainian?
It is, yep.
Wheat is not bad. It's a bit of a weird one, and it's a hit and miss. It's very controversial at the Christmas Eve dinner, but I ended up having to have, I think, 3 bowls because nobody else wanted to have it. So Barbara couldn't see there was 4 bowls, so I had to finish it up.
That's one of those things. The wheat I'll do it because you kind of have to. I'll take a scoop of it, throw back a couple of spoons. I don't necessarily enjoy it, although it just kind of tastes like nothing. But there are people who love it. Like my mom will eat that for breakfast the next day. She loves it so much.
It's pretty good. It is pretty good. It's like a dessert for breakfast.
If a dessert tasted like nothing,
yeah,
sure. Sure. Here's a fun comment. We can just take this one.
That's what we needed to break
that one. Yeah, there you go. That's good. Anyways, if you're just tuning in, Chinnikov's going to the Penguins. It's draft picks going back the other way. Mulek says I like it as a breakfast with brown sugar. Again, if you dressed it up a little bit and put some brown sugar in there, I could maybe get behind it a little bit, but I don't know, man. I can't bring myself to do it. Every other Ukrainian dish I'm in on, but that one, not my jam. Anyways, should we keep going? We can probably get to a little game preview for tonight before we wrap up the show. Obviously, our boy Aaron's going live at 4:30, pre-gaming with Boardsy. He's going to be live immediately after the game with the post-game as well. Oilers Nation After Dark, so make sure you're catching that before and after every game. But tonight, the Oilers, it's on Prime, Amazon Prime Hockey, 5:30 puck drop, Edmonton, and the Winnipeg Jets as they wrap up their 2-game road trip. Liam, Jets coming in potentially, and this is a break the Oilers caught with the Vegas Golden Knights last week too, but they could be missing a pretty important piece. Josh Morrissey left the game after a hit from Joel Eriksson Ek. He's now day-to-day. Doesn't sound like he's going to play tonight.
Yeah, what's the coach called? Scott O'Neill, is that coach of Winnipeg, right? He was saying, he's day-to-day, unsure if they'll play today. He was very upset about the hit Josh Morrissey took against Minnesota, who then went on to go tie the game. I think they ended up winning in overtime too, if I'm not mistaken. And he's gone on the last couple of days just how if that was a star player in the NHL, then any other star player, he said, is that would have been a penalty. He's like, I don't know. I've seen Connor McDavid get absolutely buried and almost thought, oh, maybe he'll get the embellishment for that instead because the refs are so bad in the league. But I did think Elliott had a funny, interesting quote after on Hockey Night in Canada, saying coaches are speaking out a lot more this year on the officials than we've seen in years past, and I thought that was interesting for Elliott to come out and say something like that. You always mention he doesn't just say things for the sake of saying things. I do legit think coaches in the NHL think the refs are becoming a bit of a problem here with some of the shit they're not calling, I guess is the point.
We got a comment here. Philp claimed by the Canes. Breaking news, apparently. Again, I don't think we need to talk about that. Not necessarily a very big story, so we can just continue along. Some numbers on the Winnipeg Jets. Did you see their game on Saturday against the Minnesota Wild, actually, before I get to that?
No, I actually went to the PWHL takeover game at Rogers Place, which I have a story for later, which we can bring up. But no, I didn't quite catch it. I was trying to watch a bit of the World Juniors game too. I think it was the US on at the time.
Johnson, David Tomasek passes through waivers. His contract's been terminated.
Thank you, John.
Farewell,
John. David.
John Kirby, our insider, ear to the street here and things like that. Anyway, so the Jets, they were up 3-2 late against the Minnesota Wild. They'd gotten their offense clicking a little bit, scored a power play goal. Kyle Connor got one. Mark Scheifele got one. Anyways, I'm kind of 75%, we'll say, paying attention to the game because I was at a Christmas thing with Amber's family. And I look and it's Kyle Connor just scored into the empty net for the Jets. They won. Nice. And then 30 seconds goes by and I look and I'm like, wait, it's still 3-2. Hold up. Someone's in the penalty box. And basically Kyle Connor scored into the empty net, but it was on a delayed penalty because 200 feet away, Dylan Sandberg just buried a guy on the Minnesota Wild and took a 2-minute penalty. I think it was Sandberg.
It was DeMello. I did see that. Yes.
Yeah, DeMello. So just buried him, basically negated the empty net or the empty net goal, which would have sealed up the game for Winnipeg. Minnesota scores on the power play, go to overtime. Matt Boldy finds the back of the net and they win. But for the Jets, it's 5 straight 1-goal losses. They're having just a really, really tough time this year. Only 34 points in 36 games. Liam, last year by the 36 game mark, they had 51 points. It's a 17-point drop off year over year. And I know what a lot of people will say, well, Connor Hellebuyck. Yes, he obviously missed about a month of time with an injury. That was a big loss for the Winnipeg Jets. But I think it's so funny, Liam, when people, sometimes Jets fans, sometimes other fan bases around the NHL, when the Oilers do well on the back of Connor and Leon, it's always just like, oh my God, yeah, they have 2 good players. Like, no duh. And then when the Jets sit there and can't win a game, basically, without Connor Hellebuyck, everyone sits there and goes, well, it's because they're missing Hellebuyck. You got to cut them some slack. And it's like, oh, but so they're allowed to be a 1-player team, but the Oilers aren't allowed to be a 2-player team? Like, what are we doing here? But the numbers when they were without Hellebuyck, 3-8-1 in the 12 games. Their goals per game, 3.67 per game, and their offense was 23rd in the league during that stretch. Hellebuyck went away, but they still couldn't score.
Yeah, Nick Ehlers obviously going in the summer as well, but it is interesting because even before Hellebuyck got injured, they weren't playing very well. The problem was still there. He just masked it a little bit for them. But you're right. Like, star players carry teams. Breaking news. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why people get so upset about some of this stuff. So star players carry teams. Bottom 6 players are supposed to pick up a little bit of the load, and your goaltending can win you games from time to time. And Winnipeg just realized their star player is their goalie, and they just haven't been good enough this season. I am surprised to see how much they have fallen down the standings, because I still think they have a pretty reasonably good roster, but they definitely punched above their weight last season, which is why Hellebuyck won the MVP.
Yeah, and honestly, deservedly so. As much as I really wanted Leon to win it, I think what we saw, again, over that stretch this year without Hellebuyck was like, oh yeah, without him, they are just mediocre. And he's the reason why they go from mediocre to a playoff team, and a playoff team that can win rounds in the postseason as well. They beat the Blues last year in 7 games. But just quickly, one more note. With Hellebuyck back, they've continued to struggle. Said it. They've lost 5 straight 1-goal games. They're 1-2-3 overall in the 6 games since Hellebuck's returned. And listen, the goals per game has gone from 3.67 to 2.67 since Hellebuck's returned, but the goals per game has gone from 2.67 to 2.5. So their offensive struggles are really the main thing plaguing them right now. On the year, they are 15th in 5-on-5 goals for per 60, 12th in power play percentage. So you probably want to keep them off the power play. They're in the top half of the league there. And they do have games like when their offense gets going, it's almost like a little bit like feast or famine. They've had 13 games this year where they've scored 4 or more goals, comparing that to the Oilers, who only have 15.
Yeah, they do have some plays you have to be aware of, but I just think the Oilers tonight probably they need to take advantage of the fact Josh Morrissey isn't playing, to be honest. And their offense has been going recently, at least their top guys. And last Saturday, I guess, bit of a, what would you call it? A mirage for how they've been playing as of late. We'll say mirage. Got to get scoring tonight. I'd love it if a bottom 6 guy got a goal. I'd love it.
So I wish Bet365 had an option like anyone but the top 6 to score. I would love to bet on it tonight. You know, they're due, right? Let's get to, speaking of bets, for Bet365, download the app today. Use the promo code NATION, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. That game against, wouldn't have been the Calgary game.
It was the previous Calgary game.
Oh, the previous one. And I think we all got wins, right?
Yeah, we spoke about it a little bit on our show on Christmas Eve. But yeah, we're looking good. We're looking like we're a bit legit right now. You're obviously leading away with 2.2 units. Jay hit a plus 1100 for those of you who didn't see. That's why his number is shot up so high to minus 2.8 units. I'm still -1, winning in the wins category, I guess. But you're winning in the units category, which is what matters the most. But mine was plus 370. Yours was plus 700, and Jay's was plus 1100 against Calgary last week.
Let's get to our picks for tonight. Jay'd be making fun of me, but I'm not touching the money line or the over-under in a Calvin Pickard versus Connor Hellebuyck game, because I think this game could be 2-1. It could be 3-2. It could be 6-1 for someone. Like, I'm just not going there. But I like McDavid 3+ shots, Hyman 3+ shots, and it all kind of correlates with, the top line having a good game. Connor and Hyman getting moving. They both had a ton of shots in that last game against the Calgary Flames in their last 2 games, by the way. And then Connor Hellebuck to go over 23.5 saves. I feel like this is a game where the Oilers will pump 30 shots on net. So, there you go. Plus 250. Simple enough. I'm in the lead. I don't need to go crazy. Liam, what do you got?
I went even less crazy. Just a Nuge power play point plus 210. The power play is not that far off 50% right now. So I think plus 210 for, I don't even think he's the highest. I think Hyman was plus 250, but Nuge just hit this, I believe, in 4 of his last 5 games. So Nuge on the power play for me tonight.
Nuge is red hot. Jay is not here today. He's spending some quality family time, but he's got the over and the puck line for the Oilers at plus 500. So he thinks Edmonton can find a way to get to Connor Hellebuck in this one. Of course, Edmonton won the last time they played Winnipeg. It was that 6-2 game where they just lit up Eric Comrie and Thomas Milic. They are not facing Eric Comrie and Thomas Milic today, but if there is one thing I could say in favor of Jay's bet, Hellebuck's allowed 4 goals in back-to-back games now. So there is that. Like, if the Oilers offense, maybe there is a chance they get to him a little bit.
Yep, I think so. Especially if Winnipeg can't score right now, then hopefully Calvin Pickett can just make life a little easier on Calvin Pickett tonight, and then the Oilers should win this hockey game.
I can't tell what people are saying in the chat anymore as a joke. But if you legitimately want our thoughts on Noah Philp getting claimed, you can rewind to the first 20 minutes of the show when we reacted to it live. But anyways, I also got a kick out of this one, Liam, just because this is such a good. I was dying laughing when I read this one. I think you were in the middle of giving like a very serious take. But female listener from North Korea, it's illegal to watch your streams here. I could go to jail. That one got me pretty good.
I did see you chuckle at that, and then I noticed you started in the chat and never got to it. So that is a good one. It's a good ongoing joke.
Yeah, it's a great bit, everybody. I love that you guys have your own weird little inside jokes. Like everyone who's now just commenting every fucking transaction the Oilers have made in like the last 3 years, last 20 years. Someone commented like the Hall for Larson, Wayne Gretzky, Chris Pronger might go. Guys are killing me. Let's get to a little what's trending here, Liam, to wrap up today's edition of the program. How about what's trending in the Oilers Nation world? Congrats to our good friend Brett Holden, one of the producers here at the network, does pre and post game with Aaron, fills in on this show from time to time as well. He got engaged over the weekend, so congratulations to the Breadman.
Yep, congratulations to the Breadman and his fiance Taylor. I don't know where they got engaged, but I think it was her who posted. It was in the same spot. Her parents either got married or engaged too. So the Breadman picked it out. He thought about it, didn't just do it on a limb. I also think I found out earlier today it was also Brett's birthday yesterday. So happy birthday to Brett. Sorry I didn't say it yesterday.
So now your engagement anniversary is your birthday going forward. Interesting.
Interesting.
I
never bought a gift for someone else on my birthday before. So that'll be an interesting twist for the Breadman next year.
Yesterday, Amber and I obviously we got married this last summer. We were sitting on the couch and we're just like hanging out playing video games. And she was like, "Oh, today's our like dating anniversary. Like this used to be the day we're celebrating." And I was like, "Oh yeah, it was like 9 o'clock at night and we had just both totally forgotten about it because obviously we have a new anniversary." But yesterday was, what year is it? 2025. So yesterday was 7 years to the day that I met Amber.
Aaron just put in a private chat. It was also his fiance's birthday yesterday. Wow. That's
cool. My God. Okay, well, then that's awesome. Brett and his now fiance share the same birthday and got engaged on that day. That is brilliant work by Brett.
Brilliant. He's a smart man, the Breadman. I did not know it was his birthday yesterday, nor did I know he was getting engaged.
Shout out to Brett. Team Canada at the World Juniors, they are technically 2-0, but Latvia pushed them to overtime there. Listen, you lose out on that third point. I'm not going to say it's like overly consequential. All you need to do is hold on to one of the top 2 spots and you'll get a good quarterfinal matchup. Then when you get to the semis, like I'm not going to sit here and be like, "Oh, you need a good, easy semifinal matchup too." But I don't know. Disappointed that they couldn't find a way to get more done against Latvia, especially in a game where they had a 5-minute power play. So they've been a little bit underwhelming, I'd say, from what I wanted from Canada.
Yeah, not 5-minute power play. What a joke that was too. Like, how is that a hit to the head? Double IHF is a crazy one. Can someone let me know the score of Sweden right now? You keep saying they're pumping them with Germany, but yeah, Canada. I think one thing too, the side of this, which is interesting, This is a very good World Juniors in the sense of like, there's probably about 6 teams that legit have a chance here to push for a medal. Where in years past it's been like, okay, like who's joining Canada, US, and Sweden to push? Like maybe Finland, maybe Czechia. Like I don't think Canada's many easy games, and Latvia was a good example of that. They've been pretty solid the last few years now too. It really is just Germany's team isn't the best. They've got some guys, but my goodness, Denmark. It always sucks when you get promoted to the World Juniors out of Division A or 1, whatever they call it. But then you lose all those guys that got you there, and now you just kind of have everyone else come through, and just a bad age group for them. But yeah, they are playing Canada today, obviously. Probably going to get smoked. I also found out Matthew Haig's name isn't Matthew Haig, it's Matthew Hage, which I never knew. So I've always been calling him Hayes. So my bad to that one. But Asher Barnett's doing a good job, I think, for Team USA as well. David Lewandowski has a couple of points for Germany, but again, that team is getting smoked.
I think it's Michael Hayes, not Matthew.
Oh, his brother's called Matthew.
Yeah. David Lewandowski. Good to see he's not lagging his way through the tournament.
Classic. Hotel Wi-Fi, am I right? We've all been there.
All been there. I wanted to check what's the spread tonight between Canada and
I think it's 7.5.
No way.
7.5. I think the over under is 8.5.
Oh, I wouldn't. Oh, I think maybe then it's an 8.5 goal spread. I think maybe Liam, the play here is just to wait like 10 minutes into the game and hope they haven't scored, and maybe you can get them at like 6.
I've been kind of waiting for for that in a few games now. Other news, actually one thing quickly before we move off the others. Keaton Verhoff is going to play today for Team Canada. I just want everyone to shut up about him not playing games yet. At the end of the day, this is a guy who has not been drafted. Carson Carrolls, I think is his name. They just kind of gave him a couple of games. Keaton Verhoff should be playing for Canada, but I see a lot of people being like, this is because he went to the NCAA. Are you nuts? Porter Martone is the captain of Team Canada, and he plays for Michigan State. The goalie plays for Michigan. Gavin McKenna plays for Penn State. This has nothing to do with the NCAA CHL thing. I just don't think they wanted to play him yet, to be honest, and that's kind of the wrinkle of it. And now he's going to play tonight, and he should prove everyone wrong because he's a very, very good hockey player.
Yeah, I think everyone's making way too big of a deal about that. I think Canada's way more concerned right now. Hockey Canada, that is, should be way more concerned with getting to a gold medal game for the first time in 3 years or whatever than they should be about sending messages to guys to not leave to the NCAA. Stupid. Mulick said the Oilers have claimed cleared up a lot of cap space today. They have activated Connor Clattenburg off of LTIR and sent him down to Bakersfield. So Clattenburg's going to head down to Baco. Liam, this guy got like, what would it be? 38, 39, almost. Yeah, 39 days of NHL pay. Shout out, Claude. How much money did he make? Let's do the math.
Yeah, it is cool, though, when you put it in that side of things for a kid who his story's awesome. Like overlooked a couple of times in
$173,000.
There you go. And then how many days was spent just simply not playing hockey? You know, he was an impactful player. I don't think this is the last we've seen of Connor Clattenburg this season. So how much cap space do they now have open?
Right now they have 1.8 million in cap space. They gotta squeeze in Wallman's 3.4 when it comes off LTIR. So to do that, like if Stillman goes down, that puts them up to 2.5. At that point, you could probably send down your other goalie, right? So yeah, once they because Jari's just on normal IR, right? So Jari's numbers counting. So I think what you would likely see is if Wallman's ready to go before Jari's back, they probably just transfer Jari to LTIR, and then they'll have the space to activate Jake Wallman. If Jari is back, then obviously Pickard's off, Stillman's off, and they're basically dead on cap compliant with 13 players on the roster. No, sorry, they'd have about $800,000 in cap space. I still had Clattenburg in the mix there. But even when Kapanen comes back, like you just send down Max Jones for Kapanen and you're basically good, I think.
Yeah. Or also the Max. What a run, to be honest. Like let's not have that overshadowed. He is actually done pretty well as he's been up here. He's made an impact.
Yeah, he has. All All right. Do we have anything else in what's? Oh, Canada is going to announce their Olympic men's hockey roster at 10 a.m. Mountain Time on New Year's Eve. So 2 days from now on Wednesday, I'm going to go live on the Daily Faceoff YouTube and do a live reaction to Hockey Canada's roster. So excited to do that. Everyone go subscribe to the Daily Faceoff YouTube if you haven't already. Liam, the last thing you wrote down in what's trending is Christmas.
Yeah, you want to talk about Christmas?
Yeah, I mean, what's the story? You said you had some story to tell.
Oh yeah, I can tell. So I went to the PWHL game on Saturday. I'd never been to one before. Tickets were pretty reasonable, so I went. It was the Vancouver Golden Eyes, who Sarah Nurse didn't play, unfortunately. She is on LTIR, but she does play for Vancouver, and the Minnesota Frost, who I know a little bit about women's hockey. I'm no expert by any means, but a lot of good players. I finished 2-1 to Minnesota in overtime. So that was a fun game. But before the game, and this is maybe just silly of me, but like I just feel like this is just such a poor thing. So it was obviously freezing cold on Saturday. It was like close to -30. So we parked at the Epcot Tower in the parking there. And I parked on the first level. And there's these crosswalks that basically lead you out the doors. So my fiance and I'm not wearing a jacket because I got a new Oilers jersey for Christmas. Like, I want to wear it. And it's like a 3-minute walk to the ring. So I walk out all these doors, dead end. I'm literally just stuck in this courtyard with no way to get out. Every single door is one way. And it's just my fiance and I, and it's just this fence that is just blocking us. And we could not get out of this place. Again, it's like close to -30. And this we're like, I think we have to jump this fence. And we're literally stuck out there for like 10 minutes. So honestly, out of absolutely nowhere, this guy comes in like security vest, like high vis, all this stuff. And he's like, what are you guys doing? I'm like, oh, we came out of the parkade because he said this was an exit. And he just clearly isn't an exit. I was like, can you let us back into the building? And he's like, yeah. So we go over to the door and he's like, the door's locked. I was like, I know, man. Like, I've been out here for the last 5 or 10 minutes. He didn't work there. Somehow this guy just appeared out of nowhere. We all had to hop this fence, which was like, honestly, like a 7-8 foot fence, maybe a little bit more. And we're climbing all this thing. It's a metal fence, so it's freezing cold. I literally got like a frost burn on my foot because it was so cold out there. And this guy just hops his fence and gets in his truck and drives away. So I have no idea where this guy came from at all. But ended up getting to the rink. I met a listener there. I forget his name. And he's like, you look cold. I'm like, yeah, man. I just been stood outside for like 15 minutes and I had to hop a fence. It was nuts. And I honestly, a bit of a hazard. You can't put fire exit signs, be like, exit this way, and then put me to a dead end. Pretty nuts. The game was good.
Game was good, though.
The game was good.
Did you get yourself a hot chocolate to warm up?
I actually had a cup of tea whilst we were there. I was like, I'm going in. I was like, I'm going to have a couple of beers. I'm going to enjoy this game. The hockey was really good. The goalie, I forget her name, for Vancouver was from Brudenheim.
Mashmeyer, right?
Yes, it is. And she was great. The hockey was good. Yeah, I got a cup of tea. Saw Janice Irwin. That was great.
So you had a cup of tea. Did you also have a couple beers?
No, I was so cold. I was so cold. And also, too, this is something I'm going to say right now. And you go to way more games than I do. How have you found the concession lines to be at Rogers Place this year?
I don't go to concessions. I only go to the beer line, and usually I just find the guy with the little cart. Scott.
Okay. But are they exceptionally long from what you've seen?
I don't think so. No. Again, that's not really something that like registers with me all that much because I just go during the intermission, then go back to my seat.
So they had everything open. It was basically just a lower bowl event. The upper bowl was a little bit open, but not so much. And they just had nobody working. Like everyone was working on the front, but there was clearly just nobody in the kitchen, like 1 or 2 people. And the lines, I kid you not, were like sections long. Like you couldn't even wait in the lines to get anything because the game would have been over. It was unbelievable. I just thought it was like pretty disgraceful by Rogers Place to like undervalue people's time who are like paying to come to this game. And then you don't even put anyone working. So I just had a cup of tea. I managed to get a slice and some popcorn. That was it. No bland hot dog this time. That would have been nice. So.
All right. Well, sounds like you had an awesome Christmas break, Liam.
I did have a good Christmas break. I also got a Ninja Crispy for Christmas.
Portable glass air fryer?
Oh yeah. What was it? Three containers or whatever it is.
nice.
It is unbelievable. If you didn't enter the Ninja Crispy draw when we do it again, you gotta sign up. It's so
Giddy
good.
up. Giddy up. All right. What did I do? I mean, I don't leave like a 10-minute radius from my house, right? Like my parents, Amber's parents back home. And like, that's kind of the whole shebang. So I don't really get up to a lot at Christmas. I was supposed to play a beer league game on the 27th. You tell me if I'm being like ridiculous about this.
Okay.
So we have a beer league game on the 27th. Boys are all fired up to go. It's a 9:15 puck drop. I get an email at like 8:06 from the league being like, hey, the other team's forfeited. There's no game tonight. And we're like, what the fuck? And they're like, you can go scrimmage on the ice if you want. And I'm like, well,
nice.
no, like there's an Oilers game on. Like, I'm going to take this opportunity and stay home. Also, we only had like 11 guys, including our goalie. So it's like, what are we going to do? Go scrimmage with 10 guys and one goalie? Like, no. So the next day I reached out to the league. I'm like, so what happens here? Do we get our game rescheduled? Because we pay whatever, $13,000 to play in this league and play a 28 game schedule. That is what we pay for. 2 refs, a timekeeper, all of that. So I'm like, do we get this game rescheduled, or is there a forfeit fee that the other team had to pay? And he's like, you don't get it rescheduled. You get a 1-0 win. And yes, the other team pays a forfeit fee to the league. And I was like, okay, so like we lost a game that like, if you were to do the math on how much you pay per game, it's like $450 per game that you pay the league. I was like, so what do we get our money back? Do we get that forfeit fee? And the league is like, nope, we keep it all.
Nice. In men's soccer, the way it's worked in the past is you get money taken off your next set of fees. So then when you come around the year, it might not be the full amount for that game, whatever, but say it's $200 or whatever it may be. It's just wiped off your fees because that team forfeited and they didn't give an appropriate an hour and a half before a game, whatever you said. That is ridiculous. So, yeah. And also too, 1-0 win also is not enough. You should get like a 5-0 win. That should be like damaging.
I know. Well, and like, again, I don't give a shit if we won or lost because like whatever. One was fired up to go play beer league, don't get to go. And like, so now the league gets out of paying 2 refs and a timekeeper, which we and the other team paid for. And then they charge this team, I don't know how much, $100, $200. They charge them this fee and the league just takes it and puts it in their pocket. And we go, what do we get in return? And they're like, that's not our policy.
Well, fix your damn policies because they're shit.
I know. So whatever. I was super pissed about it. I'm like, what do you mean you just keep all the money? Like we pay someone in the chat goes $13,000. Dude, beer league in this city is ridiculous. We pay like $875 a guy for a 28 game season. And it's just like, you don't get any of that money back. It's like, holy shit, that's crazy, right?
Yeah, that is ridiculous. Highway robbery. Anyways, that is a wrap on today's edition of the show. Aaron's going live 4:30 pregame, postgame shows tonight. The game on Amazon Prime, by the way. So make sure you call all the people in your life who may be affected by that sudden change and let them know how they can watch the game tonight because you don't want to get calls closer to puck drop. But anyways, we'll be back again tomorrow and. I don't know who we'll have on the show tomorrow, but we'll figure it out from there. Liam, enjoy the rest of your Monday. Everybody in the YouTube chat, great to catch up with you all. Hope you have had a good Christmas break. If you're still not working, lucky you. Continue to relax. We'll see you all right back here tomorrow, noon Mountain. Oil up. What's up, Nation citizens? If you enjoyed today's episode of Oilers Nation every day, make sure you hit the subscribe button here on our YouTube to not miss any of our content. We got you covered from interviews, insight, analysis, everything you need to stay up to date on everything around the team. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video.